Hi, I'm Rich Fisher. I'm the director of the Executive Leadership Center at Pivot Learning Partners. Today I'm introducing Jose Antonio Vargas. Jose has appeared on CNN, MSNBC, C-SPAN, and many other television programs. His driving interest in technology and its effect on our society has resulted in many thoughtful articles and a book that's in progress right now.
When I moved here in 1993, I definitely wasn't a typical English learner per se, because I think one of the hardest things to learn about English is there's the grammar part, right? And then there's the kind of slang. Like when the kids would say like, "What's up?" I'd say like, "The sky." Because they ask, "Well, what's up?" And it's the sky, you know, like, so things like that I got teased around about a lot. And so the easiest way for me to actually learn English, and I say this a lot, and it seems to surprise people, is TV. I watched a lot of TV, and I borrowed a lot of tapes from the Los Altos Public Library, which had a better selection than the Mountain View Public Library, of all of these like English movies that I could watch and kind of understand how people talked in the language that they used. So I don't think I was typical in that regard, because, you know, when I came here, they put me in an ESL, English as a second language class, in the 6th grade, and it didn't really quite work. I felt that, I mean, I got I got the grammar part, but I didn't really get the American culture part. By the luck of it, I went to high school in Mountain View, which is like the center of Silicon Valley, physically, that is. And so actually, I remember because, you know, I didn't have internet connection at home. So I would have to use the library at school, or the Mountain View Public Library, or the Los Altos Public Library. And that was when Alta Vista, kind of prior to Google, first showed up, right? So I remember that. I certainly remember email coming. I mean, it's fascinating. If you think about it, it's only been 10 years. It's almost 10 years since I got out of high school. And the fact that in the last 6 years, we've had Facebook, we've had YouTube, we've had Twitter, we've had blogs, we've had Wikipedia. Wikipedia is the 6th largest, most trafficked website in the world. The day Michael Jackson died, they had 38 million page views. People went on Wikipedia just to read about Michael Jackson's death. Literally stopped the internet. In terms of people talking about it. And I think what's happening that has tremendous consequences is what is happening that people get to talk back to institutions. I think that's kind of the theme of what we're seeing about, they call it Web 2.0. I don't like to call it that, because you talk to people here in the Valley and it's already Web 3.0. They moved on. I just like to call it social web, because it is about connection. It's about being social on the internet. Because, you know, it used to be in the past, when people think about the internet, they think it's just a bunch of loner kids who don't get out or don't play sports or in the basement. That's not at all how the internet works anymore. It's a place where people connect and people share conversations, and it's a place where people learn. I think the role of school boards in this transition is going to be to really reflect kind of more so than ever. And I think this is not just, by the way, just with school boards. It's with basically representative democracy in general. You know, like, they're going to need to be much more representative and reflective of what's happening on the ground. I think, and also to do a better job communicating what they're doing. You know, transparency. Technology has allowed for institutions to be much more transparent than they've ever been before, right? For example, the minutes of a school board meeting, right? Instead of just posting, I mean, outside of just posting it on the website, what else could be done on that? The moms in general in this country are the highest demographic that use text messaging. Let me repeat this. Moms, the Sarah Palin moms, right? I call them the Sarah Palin suburban moms. they text message more than any other female demographic group. So I'm curious, is there a way that, especially since moms are always so like concerned about what's happening with school, is there a way that schools can form like a text messaging program that they can push information out? That's really interesting. And what's going to be the role? I mean, especially now that newspapers have been cutting, there's not a lot of reporters that cover school board meetings. I know this because I used to cover school board meetings. What's going to happen with that? Like, how should parents be getting info? What is the relationship between the superintendent, the school board, and the parents? I don't think people have thought about it as a relationship, but it's a relationship.
So if I were a superintendent still, and you were advising me.
If I were advising you. I don't know about that, but good.
How would you help me be better at creating relationships that are relationships for this era?
The funny thing to me, what's great about what's happening is it's forcing a certain kind of authenticity, right, that has never been asked of people before. We operate, remember, for many years, operated in kind of a television press release kind of environment, right? When you wanted something done, you issued a press release that read like a stiff cardboard box. I mean, I'm not saying that's for everybody, but for the most part, this is how press releases are written, right? That doesn't fly anymore in this kind of environment, like imagine. So first of all, I would probably ask you to have a blog. The fact of the matter is, kids from different backgrounds don't learn the same way. We just don't. Which is why probably my proudest moment in high school was when I was in the school board and I said, if a kid who's a C student wants to take an AP and honors class, we should let them. If they fail, okay. We have no right to tell kids that they can't take a class simply because they're quote unquote not smart enough or they're not the right demographic. So I think that's the challenge. I think that's where the competition, because you're right. I think sometimes we may be missing the forest for the trees. Like we're thinking about competition in this, and again, in the system that we've created and catered to all these years, that we're forgetting that at the end of the day, this is still about the individual student. Let me give you my favorite anecdote during the campaign was, I had written about this, is when I was at a middle school and this 12-year-old kid, I was talking to the journalism class at this middle school. This 12-year-old kid stopped me and asked me if I had downloaded Obama's iPhone application. Now, this kid, had enough money, parents, to buy him an iPhone, right? So that's interesting. But he took the iPhone out and he was showing me Obama's iPhone application, in which he could figure out where Obama was at the moment, how many precincts are within a 10-mile radius of him, and what Obama's schedule was that day. Politics was like right in the kid's pocket. He just took it out. So now this is going to be the generation, his generation are going to be the ones who are going to be the parents of these schools. And the expectation that they have as to how the superintendent or the principal communicates with them is going to be completely different. And I think and I don't know what this looks like yet. I don't know if it's necessarily blogging. I don't know if it's necessarily, I don't know. But, or maybe a YouTube address from your office once in a while. Hey, this is what we're doing this month. We just passed, this referendum. We had a big problem trying to raise money for this. Now, what I'm really excited about this month, a lot of laptops now have cameras just built in. I actually like doing that because it feels very kind of organic and raw,
So,
if the president can have a YouTube address, by the way, just one thing. So if a president can have a YouTube address, why can't the superintendent of a school district?